People always ask, where's the Weilong WRM 2022? Where's MoYu's 2022 flagship? And the entire year went by and they didn't release what seemed like a flagship. This is the HuaMeng YS3 M, and this is basically what we've been waiting for, and it's really exciting. Let's check it out. So over here we have three versions of the cube. This is the standard, this is the Maglev, and this is the ball core. We are aware there's a fourth version with magic clothes technology. I think that's just an outside coating to make the cube look more distinguished or maybe easier to hold. Maybe kind of like UV coating. Standard right here is $14.99. Maglev is $19.99, and this ball core is $25.99. So roughly a $5 increase over the RS3M Super. So let's take a look. Apparently this cube was designed by Yusheng Du. You can look right here. It's Mr. Du looking really nice with the jacket. 347 still going strong. It's pretty nice. He looks very happy. The box is really cool. This silver sort of color has like GAN 11M Pro vibes. It looks like they paid a lot of attention to detail. So what do we got here? We have a cube. We have an accessory box. I like the accessory box. It has some extra artwork on it. Oh no. The English here. Exfolded pictures of the box. Not sure that's a word. Okay, so this is dual adjustment system. The instructions actually feature pictures of the cube. So usually the instructions pamphlet is just like some random puzzle. It actually features artwork of the cube itself. I'm not gonna learn how to solve the cube using that though. I have a feeling we're gonna want this. Okay, so let's open this. Huh? Okay, it's an interesting box. So let's open this cube. My cube opening form is like on point. That was great. So this is the standard version, which means no real features, simple screw and magnets. So this cube is very dry out of the box. I kind of like it. It feels like a really nice blank canvas. Sometimes factory lube doesn't really make the cube feel very nice. I'm hoping that they just ship cubes like this. It's still usable if you're a beginner, you don't have lube. You can still use this and it'll be okay. We're definitely gonna want to lube this though.
How similar do you think it is to the Super?
It definitely feels like a different cube. On the outside, when I touch it, it feels like an RS3M 2020, but when I pick it up, it doesn't feel like that. Like, I feel like the weight is distributed differently in the cube. It feels closer to the RS3M 2020 than the Super, but not in a way that makes me feel like it's a lazy clone of a cube, because that would actually be really unfortunate. Let's open this and check it out. There we go. Okay, so it uses the same MoYu technology. This has been around for a while now. It has a very stubby corner foot, like a corner stock here. There are some cubes with very long stocks, and this is extremely stubby. It's very interesting. So this is the RS3M Super. Let's take a look. The RS3M Super's corner, the stock, is humongous. This is extremely stubby. So this, I think, will change the internal radius. So essentially the inside of the cube, this section forms a ball, and the size of the ball changes how the cube feels. I think most people like large internal radius because it makes the cube feel more stable. And this is the edge piece. You can see there's a lot of difference here too. Like this piece protrudes much more on the Super, which makes the ball smaller. It's very interesting. And this looks a lot simpler. So this is not a clone of the RS3 Super, or at least to me, it doesn't seem like that. It does have that dragon scale pattern. Honestly, the shape of the pattern doesn't really matter that much. It does the same thing, but this does look familiar. Yeah, it's really cool. This side's flat, this side has scales. Very interesting. Okay, so let's try compressing this a few and see how it affects the turning. So I'm just gonna do two, just to see if it does anything. Yep. So one thing I did notice about this cube is that the M slices are really fast. I can do an M2 with one finger. But this cube, obviously, it's a good cube for $15. Whether you get this over the Super really depends on what kind of feeling you like. So the Super has a kind of a blocky feel to it, and it's kind of smooth once you break it in. This one has a tactility to it. You can feel and you can hear the crispiness to it. So this is another good choice if you want something in the $15 range. I think performance-wise, these two are pretty similar. I don't expect to get better times on this cube. I think it's a matter of preference for feel. All right, so we're gonna unbox the Maglev one now. I'm hoping that when I open this, I'll see Yusheng Du again. Oh, there he is. That never gets old. I'm gonna be unboxing these and it'll be like, oh, hey, what's up, buddy? So this is the same experience. Okay, this box is a little like counterintuitive. My preference for a box is something that you can open with your eyes closed because you might be like fumbling in your bag or something, and this box is not it. Interesting, so this is Maglev, but there's nothing on the pieces that indicates it's a Maglev. Okay, so the inside, this is blue, this is purple. So they color coded the inside, which I think is a step back because it was actually cool that the internals were purple on the RS3 Super. So this is very similar to the standard. I don't feel that much of a difference. If you set these cubes up and adjusted them, I don't think a lot of people would be able to perceive the difference. I'm not sure that's a good thing. I think overall, releasing 4 versions of a cube is like overkill. Yeah, the difference is so minor. I'm not sure it warrants another version. So this is $20. This is $15. I think both are good. If you think the Maglev will help you, you know, $5 won't kill you. But if you don't really care, you can easily get substantially the same thing for 15. All right, let's open the last one. So this is the bong core. So we imagine this is going to be the most different compared to the ones that we've already tried. There he is. I love it. Okay, all right. So this is like the ultimate version of the cube that we have right now. And right off the bat, you can immediately tell there's some extra stuff inside. The turning is more stable. And when I'm turning the cube like this, I don't feel like the cube is catching onto itself. When I was turning the standard one for the first time, I got a ton of lockups on the J-perm. It got better as I turned it, but this cube seems to have less trouble turning onto itself when you're turning faster. So let's take a look at how the bong core works in here. Oh, okay. So the internals of this cube are this color. This is like kind of like teal or turquoise, right? It's like this greenish blue, which is nice. So there's a magnet over here. It looks factory installed, which is really cool. And if you get rid of more of the pieces, you can see that there's a ball. This looks a lot more polished than the RS3 Super, where you can kind of see the magnets poking out from the inside. This is just a solid ball in the middle. This looks really cool, actually. It looks very futuristic. You see this gap here? So the way that the magnet naturally attracts this piece is in this position. I don't know if that's affecting the cube in any way. Let's put in another piece next to it.
It seems like the attraction between the corner and the core is stronger than the corner and the edge.
Yeah, which is a good thing. Okay, so with the piece in place, it's okay. All right. This is a good cube. Like, I genuinely believe this is the MoYu cube that you've been waiting for. I feel like this cube was like the idea all along, and then they made these simpler afterwards, and not like they made this standard version and was like, oh yeah, let's throw a magnet core in there. Like, this seems very well thought out. The weight doesn't seem like it's a problem. The ball looks really good inside. It's not broken. The price of $25.99, not crazy at all, considering what you're getting in here. I kind of wish the magnets were adjustable, but it's completely fine. I think the magnets are okay for most people. They're a little bit strong, but you know, that's completely fine. Let's do some times. Oops. Oh man. All right, cut that. You know what we should do? We should set this up. So this is just one of many ways to set up the cube. Yeah, we're gonna put in some Yo lubes because we like that combination a lot, especially in MoYu cubes because the original Yo cube was on a MoYu cube. Yeah, definitely not going to over lube because we want it to be like immediately usable. Okay, here's some syringed Dignitas that comes in our sampler. Cool. Add some over here. Yep, I think at this point we'll just compress it a little bit because it's a little loose right now. Cool.
The next day.
So I was really You know what? I'm not gonna say I'm surprised. I knew what I was getting into when I was using this cube. I popped off like crazy and I got really good times on it, and I'm really happy with this cube. I was averaging 8, I was getting random 7s, and I just randomly got a 6 while cubing on stream yesterday and like chatting with viewers. This cube is really good for me and I got really good results, and I can definitely see myself taking this to a comp and using it as my main. This is my second day using the cube and I'm already really used to it. The only negative that I see with this cube is that the M slice is a little fast, so I end up overturning it sometimes if I'm rushing. But you know, that's a me problem, and I can always get used to M slices on this cube, or I can lube it a little more, or I can just avoid them by using RU algs for like my EPLLs. Otherwise, I don't really use M slices that much, so it doesn't pose a problem for me. I got really good times on this, and I think part of the reason is the magnets are on the stronger side, so I felt very safe when pushing my TPS. The cube is smaller. The 55mm size really helped me control the cube better. I have pretty small hands, and so I think this cube checks off all the boxes for me. There is some discussion about how similar this cube is to the RS3 M 2020. I think the similarities are kind of superficial because, I mean, from the outside, it kind of looks like one, and of course, they're manufactured by the same companies, so there are going to be some stylistic similarities. The corner stock on this cube is really small. I think I'm going back to that because that's the biggest difference. I feel it changes the sizing of the cube and how the pieces interact with each other and how much surface area there is. And it also changes how you feel the layers when you're turning because the radius is a different size. And I feel like that's a significant difference. To some degree, you can always say, oh yeah, but that's like a few millimeters and you're changing it. But you know, I at this point, I just don't care. Like, I don't care if people say this is similar to an RS3 M 2020. It doesn't matter to me. I get really good times on this. I don't care what it is, I'm gonna use this because it's good for me. So at $25.99, I think this is a really fair deal for a cube that performs so well. It's kind of a shame it doesn't have adjustable magnets, but the magnet settings seem fine. I think if it had adjustable magnets, I'd tone them down a little and I'd use the cube for OH as well. But for two-handed solving, the magnets are fine. So if I were to rate this cube, I'd give it an easy A. It's a 10 out of 10. The M slice thing is not a huge deal, and the matte plastic should be remedied by the magic clothes, whatever that is. I hope that works. Yeah, I can't really complain about a cube that is reasonably priced, that gives me fantastic times. Overall, this is as close to a perfect cube for me as it can be. All these cubes are on pre-order right now at TheCubicle.com. So I think if you order it, you'll get it early March, which is coming up pretty soon. So I'm really excited for this. I know when it comes out, I'm gonna get a bunch of them for myself. As for my first impressions of these, I think the Bong Core is unequivocally the best model. I'm actually not too fond of the standard and the Maglev. These are kind of duplicative with the RS3M Super. So the RS3 Super is another very smooth, very easy, no nonsense 3x3 with magnets. I honestly think that the standard RS3 Super is better than the YS3M standard, and there is nothing here that compels me to pay an extra $5 for it. I'd rather use the RS3 Super and use the $5 to like buy lunch or something. And same with the Maglev. These don't feel very stable, and I prefer an RS3M Super standard over both of these. And certainly if I'm not interested in paying 15 for this, I'm not interested in paying 19 for this. But what I can tell you is, at least in my opinion, I think this Bong Core one really blows the Bong Core Super out of the water. Yeah, that's all I have to say. We're gonna be breaking them all in. This is one of those cubes that, you know, it's so good that it makes you want to cube. So we're gonna cube on it a lot, break them in, show them to a lot of different people, and make a more in-depth review when we can get more results and more study with the cube. Until then, we hope that these first impressions are helpful to you when you're making a decision whether to try the cube or not. And as always, you can find them at TheCubicle.com. We'll have links in the description. We'll catch you later.